Hi friends, it's so good to see you again. I'm so happy to see you for the third time this month. What a great treat it has been to spend these days with you. I have another special project for us today, and it's one of my personal favorites. We are going to make these adorable paper tube penguins. Again, let's make sure that we are comfy and ready to create in a nice large space and grab the supplies that we're going to need from our craft box. So I'm going to pull out the paper tube. We have some glue, the scissors, a piece of orange felt, a marker. There's 3 googly eyes. We're only going to be using 2, but we have a package of 3. A sheet of white paper, and last, a sheet of black paper. Are you ready to get creating? I know that I am. Let's jump right in like a penguin off of some sea ice. Our first step of this project is to grab your paper tube and your black paper and apply your glue to the tube, trying not to use too much, but enough to cover it from top to bottom. And we're going to create some nice lines on it. And we don't have to cover it in glue, but we do want to make sure that we get enough so that we can roll the paper right on top of it. So we'll make sure we have some on the top and the bottom. We are going to lay our black paper down in front of us, and we're going to roll onto the black paper our tube, making sure to wrap it tightly around. We're going to do it lengthwise, and we'll do this the long way to save some of that black paper to use later. And it might get a little messy with the glue, so it's nice to have a napkin nearby if you do need it. Just wrap this tightly. And don't be afraid to ask for help or pause this video if you need more time. But once we are done wrapping our tube, we are going to secure the end of the paper and cut off any excess black paper. So I'm going to apply some more glue right to this edge here, just to make it so it lays flat on the tube. And you don't need much glue, a little bit goes a long way. We're just going to flatten that down. And then we are going to take our scissors and we are going to cut off all of the excess black paper. You can cut right across. It's going to be a little choppy, but we want to make sure we have some excess here. And then you're going to go around your tube and just cut right along the edge to create a nice line of paper here. So one side is done, and I'm going to cut a little bit off of the bottom here as well. And just remember to cut all the way around it and use the tube as your guide to where you'll be cutting the paper. All right, so let's set this aside once you are all set, and let's start cutting out the pieces that we're going to glue to our penguin. Now we're going to need a white belly, 2 wings, some feet, and a beak. For the white belly, we're going to take out our white paper and hold it up against our tube to see where we would like to cut it. So you can see it's quite large compared to our tube. And just as an example, as a reference, this is what the white belly looks like, kind of an oval. And I'm going to keep that right here for me to look at as well. Now you can use your marker to make some marks on the white paper to help guide you as to where to cut it. And I'm just going to mark down here on the bottom some little marks how wide I want the penguin belly to be, and about how tall as well. And remember, we do want to leave space at the top and the bottom, some black space. So mark your paper and then cut out your belly shape with a nice rounded top and a flat bottom. I'm going to go ahead and do that now. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can draw out an entire guideline if you'd like. I just drew a few little marks, but you can go ahead and just draw your shape before you cut it if you would like to. There. Now let's set this aside. Let's set our white paper and our little penguin belly aside, and let's make some wings for a penguin next. It's kind of silly that penguins have wings and can't fly. Their wings are more like flippers that help them swim around in the water. They can also stay underwater for up to 20 minutes at a time. And I don't know about you, but I cannot hold my breath that long. It's really amazing. Now let's cut our wings out of the excess black paper. We can match our wings by folding the paper in half and then cutting them that way. You can use the black marker if you'd like to cut out your shape, or you can just use the scissors freehand. I think I'm just gonna cut out freehand and see what happens. But feel free to do whatever you would like. We're gonna make little oval shapes for that. And you can also, again, hold up your paper to the tube to get a sense of how big you would like them to be. I'm just gonna cut some little ovals. They also kind of look like leaves. Out of our black paper here. I'm going to kind of push away my other scraps to the side. So it does get a little bit messy. So I have my tube, and then I have my 2 wings. And now for the feet and beak, we're going to add some texture with the fun bright orange felt. Again, I'm going to use my marker to just draw out the little penguin feet. And make sure to leave little legs on as well, so we can easily glue those feet onto our penguin. And I'll show you what that looks like. So the feet are going to be little tiny feet. They kind of have webbed feet. So I'm making this little, it has 3 toes. And I'm adding on a little bit of a leg. That's kind of the shape that we're going to be cutting out for the feet. You can make yours however you would like. This is what mine looks like. I'm going to fold this felt in half and go ahead and cut that out. And make sure to ask for help if you need any. The felt can be a little bit hard to cut. And nothing has to be perfect. We're just having fun with this craft here. Alrighty. So now I have 2 little feet, and they kind of have tabs on them. You'll see my foot here, it kind of has this little tab, and we'll be using that to glue. And we are going to also cut out a little beak as well, and make sure to leave some room on your orange felt because we will be using the orange felt again for another project. So we're going to cut out a tiny triangle for the beak, and we're going to set that aside too. And that's very simple. We can just cut a little notch into our felt. It's a little tiny triangle, and I'll show you this up in a second. Here we are. I'm going to set this felt aside to be used again. And my beak is really tiny. We're going to put all our pieces together here. Clean up our area a bit. And now that we have all of our pieces, including our googly eyes, we can have fun putting this all together. First, for the belly, we are going to glue the white paper, and we're going to add some glue to the back of that where the marker lines are. And remember, a little bit of glue goes a long way when you're dealing with paper. This looks like it's good enough. This is about how much glue I'm using. This is still kind of a lot of glue. But we're going to hold this down and secure it onto our penguin. And we're going to leave a little bit of blank space at the bottom and at the top. And also try to apply this on the opposite side of the paper seam in the back. So here. Then we're going to hold it for a while. And just make sure to press that down so that it's wrapping around the tube. And the glue won't dry for about a few hours, but we just want to make sure that it is secure before moving on and gluing the wings on next. So take your time and make sure it's exactly where you want it to be. Alright. And the wings are going to go right near that white paper and off a bit to each side. And we do want the wings to stick out a little bit from our penguin, so just apply the glue to one of the corners, and we're going to press it on right there. So I'm just adding on a little bit of glue, and I'm going to put on either side. It's going to kind of overlap the white. There's one. And you can put them on however you'd like. You can angle them as well to kind of stick out. And then I'm going to glue on my second penguin wing. Just adding on a little bit of glue on one corner. Then matching it up with the other one. There, that looks good. Once the wings are on, we can open our bag of googly eyes and take out 2 of them. Make sure to save the third for a future project. I'm going to take out 2. And set the other one aside. Keep it in the bag so we don't lose it. And I'm going to glue both of these right near the top of the white paper piece. I could just add on a little bit of glue to each one. This one goes near the top, and there is 2. The glue can be a little bit hard to get out, but there we go. Placing them right next to each other. Now, for the beak and the legs, we can use a bit more glue because the felt does absorb a lot of it. We can glue the beak right below the eyes, and for the feet, I'm going to glue those on the other side of my tube so they stick out. Let's go ahead and do that now. So for my beak, just applying some glue, a little bit more, not a whole lot. And I'm going to place that right under the eyes. This penguin has sort of a long beak. And then for our little feet, I'm going to glue, make sure if you use the marker, make sure that you glue on the other side of it so we see all the orange felt there. And I'm going to place some glue right on the top of the feet here. I'm going to place those on the bottom, on the inside of my tube. That's one. I'm just going to do my other. Right on that little part that sticks out. I'm going to apply it inside of the tube. Well, I think that this looks absolutely adorable. Before I do much else with this craft, I'm gonna let it rest on its side and wait for everything to dry. After it's dry, you should be able to stand it upright on its feet, like my example here. It may take a few hours for it to completely dry. Not only is this penguin cute, but it can be practical too. You can attach some string or wire to the back of it and use it as an ornament, or sitting it upright, you can use it as a pencil holder, sort of like this. I love finding creative ways to make my crafts into useful objects, but it can also be fun to play with as a little penguin friend. Thank you again for joining me. I am so glad to spend so much time with you this month. And as always, if you'd like to share your masterpieces with myself and my friends at the Wood Theater, tag them on social media or send an email to the box office. It looks like it's that time to clean up again, so I can have a nice and clean space for next week. So I'll have to say goodbye, and I will see you again soon. Goodbye, friends.